Hundreds of thousands of U.S. businesses have closed since the start of COVID-19 lockdowns. Maybe 500 per day are closing permanently, and 11 million Americans are still unemployed. But there's some good news in California, where Governor Gavin Newsom is lifting his stay-at-home order and allowing outdoor dining. Well, meanwhile, President Biden has issued a number of executive orders that will affect the way Americans do business. Here to set us straight is national radio and TV host of Financial Issues, Celia. Dan, it's so good to see you in this new year, but I guess it isn't so new anymore. We're nearly into February. So Joe Biden's already signed many executive orders. They include halting the Keystone Pipeline, rejoining the Paris Climate Accord, another round of stimulus checks, also a Buy America program. So what effect do you think all of this will have on the U.S. economy?
I think it's going to have a negative effect, Gary, probably in a fairly significant way. Not right away. I think it's going to start impacting things as we head into the summer, just coming out of the summer. None of this is going to be good for the economy, but it's not each one of those things you mentioned individually. It's the attitude about the economy that is going to be developed in consumer sentiment and business sentiment. And that's what eventually is going to have a dramatic impact on the economy. I think most businessmen now, most individuals probably realize that we have to see higher taxes. He's already said he was going to raise taxes. And Janet Yellen said last week that she is not going to let the dollar be pegged to anything but the markets. So if the markets go down, it's not going to be good for the dollar. Now she'll get to blame the Wall Streeters and the fat cat bankers, to quote President Obama. And every time a move like this is made, where we are getting in deeper debt, we are spending more money as opposed to trying to get people back to work, it just sends a bad message to business people and individuals.
And speaking about business, Dan, what do you think of the cancel culture that is now bleeding into business? We've seen Bed Bath & Beyond and Kohl's ban the MyPillow products from their stores because of CEO Mike Lindell's comments about voter fraud and Donald Trump. And Goya Foods has also censored its CEO for the same. Is this a new trend, or will it eventually fade away?
No, I don't think it's going to fade away. I think it's going to be here to stay. It's not going to fade away until CEOs start standing up to it. When you look at Kohl's and other department stores that are keeping people from coming into the stores, their CEOs ought to be immediately fired. They've got one job: add value to the stock and make sure that you can bring people into the store. As soon as you start eroding that away and alienating people aren't going to be alienated because they can't buy MyPillow in the store. It's the ideology of all of that's going to alienate shoppers. And retailers are in enough trouble, and the idea that they're doing this is just ridiculous.
Target knows what effect that can have. Didn't they lose like $1.5 billion after they made the bathroom decision? So what do you see happening to the American economy in the longer term, Dan?
I think long term, it almost has to get weaker, Gary, because I think that we are going to see these kinds of things be encouraged and continue. I think we're going to see regulatory burden. And the average person doesn't understand how regulatory burden impacts businesses. It dramatically impacts them. And things like regulation on minimum wage and those kinds of things as well are going to hurt a lot of businesses. And they just won't hire. They'll go out of business. They're going to cut back their workforce. They're going to employ more automation than they ever had before. So all of this is going to be bad for the economy. We're going to have less people working. We're going to have less tax dollars from payroll tax coming in, and we're going to be paying more money out for help that people are going to need. again, I go back to the consumer sentiment, the business sentiment, Gary, because ultimately all these things that you just mentioned are going to impact that sentiment. And right now, the only reason we can go through the next 6 months and it not impacting us too bad is because the underlying fundamentals of the economy are still very strong. And it's going to take a little while to beat them up enough that we really start losing ground.
Okay, Dan Celia, national radio and TV host of Financial Issues. Thank you, Dan, for setting us straight today. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Gary. Thank you.